Greetings. Hello. Today I am reacting to, it's Kira, by the way. What up? I know a lot of you haven't seen me on the channel in a while. I'm back, kind of, just for a limited time. Well, maybe not. Maybe so. Who knows, right? If you want to see more of me, go over to the anime channel. I'm reacting to Attack on Titan right now. Otherwise, I'll be on here for some time, maybe in perpetuity, maybe not. Who knows? Nobody cares. Today, I am reacting to Casual Geographic. Should we let nature finally delete pandas? I feel like I'm going to come off as a bad guy in this one. All right. Well, here we go. It is what it is. This is, I guess, what I agreed to when I decided I would take this gig. Is coming off as not only a bad guy, in some scenarios, but also kind of an idiot. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll see where my opinion lies by the end of this video. All right, here we go.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Billy.
Oh, they're so cute.
Coming up to chill, what's the plan, bruh? Everything is awesome when you're a panda.
There are some animals whose entire existence proves that nature isn't about survival of the fittest. It's survival of just barely being good enough. If life was a class, it wouldn't be about passing
You mean like humans?
with straight A's. It'd be about passing off your DNA before you become an F in the chat. And some animals are universally recognized as the remedial students of nature. Cheetahs are the red-headed stepchild of the cat world. Sloths are basically free calories served on a moss blade. And roasting koalas is considered low-hanging fruit only because they happen to share the same IQ. And also because they put the mid in chlamydia. And it seems that everyone can agree that pandas are egregiously bad at pandaing and that we need to stop being this biracial Winnie the Pooh's crutch and just let nature finish what is clearly started.
Oh!
Is it really that bad? Did we successfully gaslight the barcode bears of the world? Or do pandas really profit off the most OP pretty privileged genjutsu nature's ever seen? To find out, first we gotta lay out all the factors that make the Try to Panda challenge virtually impossible. But before that, this video was
Poor panda.
absolutely no one. Let's get it. You probably already know that the panda's biggest problem revolves around it being a bamboo sink. 99% of the things that meets this oversized equality hamster's gullet is bamboo. Despite clearly being designed with carnivore software, it's the koala problem of building your entire meal plan around something that gives you very little back. Which is why pandas can spend up to 16 hours a day eating something they can only digest 17% of. The very definition of injustice is that when you Google sloth bear, this monochromatic try-hard vegan doesn't show up, since their diet of scarfing bamboo often leaves them with very little energy for anything else.
Oh my God.
To accommodate this self-imposed energy budget, pandas developed relatively smaller-sized organs, including, you guessed it, their brains. And something else, but we'll get to that.
Liver
But yeah,
and
being a
kidneys.
bimbo for bamboo might have literally nerfed their intelligence in the process. And some of you may have asked yourselves, why
Oh,
do
that's super sad.
horses don't just hibernate, since hibernation is basically power save mode for animals, and if anyone needs to save energy, it's pandas. Well, one, bears technically aren't even true hibernators. But two, even if they were, eating like
Really? Okay. Well, I didn't know that. I mean, I like how he just like kind of breezes over that.
the vegan teacher's lapdog means pandas are physically incapable of putting on the fat reserves required to hibernate for months at a time without also being selective starvation. But honestly, the problems with their diet have low-key been overblown. If being a bamboo junkie was their only issue, they wouldn't be as chronically down bad. At their core, animals have two main goals: food and another F word my mom.
OMG.
See how they handle
She's like, what the fuck? Get back up here.
their meal prep, but it's their love life that really screws pandas over. Pandas are absurdly bad at making more pandas. Off rip, their window to reproduce isn't even really a window, it's more like a hairline crack in the windshield. Female pandas ovulate 1 to 3 days out of the entire year. That's only
wow.
24 to 72 hours are open for business out of a possible 8,760. And since being bent on bamboo means they eat, sleep, and socialize like a stereotypical Reddit user.
All right, so now I'm starting to understand why it's such a big deal at, like, say, a zoo when they've bred a panda, right? They're like, oh, it's a baby panda.
Finding a possible partner is often equally as difficult for them. Even if he does manage to track a female down, he still has a high risk of fumbling the opportunity because males are apparently illiterate at reading signs. Male pandas often struggle to interpret the signs that a female actually wants to mate. Word.
When you're backing your ass up against somebody, come on. How do you miss that sign?
Ensure that the only thing getting screwed is the future of your progeny. And even
Boy, you look good. I'm gonna back my ass up.
Partly because male pandas struggle through the process of procreation in a way that is almost impressive, but also partly due to the panda's reportedly disproportionately tiny penis. Which is why panda coitus is a lot like trying to get a 1/4-inch USB into a port blind. Suppression raccoon, 0.
I wonder how popular it is in the furry community to go as a panda.
Favors. Their mating habits are a big reason why the double-stuffed Ursus Oreos are where they're at. Pandas in breeding programs in captivity often show so little interest in their literal only job that researchers have resorted to showing them videos of pandas mating.
It's panda porn. It's beautifully illiterate as well.
Apart from pulling videos from Panda Hub, researchers have also resorted to giving them actual Viagra. Although you'd need a magnifying glass to see if it's working, because again, the P in panda does not stand for packing. And even though most pandas rely on the grace of God as a wingman, somehow the jihad of life doesn't end once they add new names to the roster. Pandas are some of the worst parents on the planet. You've probably heard that if a panda has twins, one of them is a guaranteed loss, since the mother panda will abandon half her litter and leave that one twin to die. Which is even worse when you consider that grizzly bears will allegedly disown their cubs, but they only do it when there's one, since they'd rather start over with 2 to 4 cubs than put all their hopes in
They're like, yeah, I'm not gonna put effort into a single bear.
The yin-yang colored chonk bears of China have the highest mother-to-baby size ratio of any mammal. Put in perspective, humans are typically 20 times bigger than their babies. Mother African elephants are typically 45 times heavier. A mama panda is approximately 900 times.
It's like a little shit.
Baby.
It's not fair that we as humans are only 20 times bigger than our baby. I just gave birth about a month ago, and boy, did that suck.
Since they don't have pouches like marsupials, that puts the panda at a legitimate risk of being turned into a chalk outline by its own oblivious mother. Just another way nature set this glorified cow gerbil up for failure. And it's not even like domestication is an option. A good reason is because, despite what the black and white beta bamboo might tell you, it's still a bear, and a bear is a bear is a bear. And the black sheep of the bear brotherhood is still liable to absolutely fold any human.
Oh, I've never seen a panda be vicious.
In case you thought this plus-size Oreo was sweet, one man nearly lost his whole leg after a giant panda wandered onto his land and crushed his leg like
wow.
Then there's the fact that a high-volume, low-efficient diet means the one-man bamboo processing plant known as the panda can poop a healthy 40 times a day. And of course, living in the chilly, mountainous forests of Asia, pandas figured out that they can stay warm by rolling around and covering themselves in fresh manure. So if you want to add a biting, eating, pooping, sewer-smelling dependent to your family, like I always say, you're better off having children. Because there are no tax credits for providing for pandas.
No.
In fact, the opposite. Pandas quite literally cost millions of dollars just to keep alive. But mostly that's because
they are really cute, though.
Giant pandas are leased by the Chinese government at approximately a fat million a year. And if one of those pandas gets knocked up, that'll set you back a cub tax of about 400,000.
Wow.
Currently, only 3 zoos in the US have a biracial bamboo munching beanbag of a bear on display. One of those zoos used to be San Diego. I say used to because one of the consequences of renting pandas is that gives China the ammunition to be petty. I'm not a political channel, I'll never be a political channel. I'm not implying any type of affiliation or bias. I'm just listing 2 things that happened. In 2019, Trump may or may not have fueled a trade war against China. And come May 2019, a mother panda and her son were recalled and sent back to China. Now you could argue the trade war had nothing to do with it, and this was just the natural end of a panda loan. But 10 years earlier in 2009, Taishan the panda was deported not long after Obama met with the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is, as far as China's concerned, an op. So my working theory is China uses pandas for diplomacy, but also as a vehicle of petty punishment. That's not really the panda's fault, but at this point we might as well hold it against them too.
I mean, it is a negative thing, right? Like, I mean, if there was some sort of financial advantage or like diplomacy advantage to pandaism, then maybe it would be worth keeping the panda around.
We didn't even mention the fact that pandas aren't even really pandas.
Oh, I thought I took care of the ad situation. Okay, I guess that didn't work. My apologies, folks. Sorry about that.
The word panda in 1825. He was describing the red-headed raccoon we call the red panda. The furry orca known as the giant panda wasn't named until much later, and it only got its name because at the time they thought it had a lot in common with the red panda. Turns out they're not even close to being related.
They don't even look alike.
Zebra Yogi isn't even.
I mean, I guess that doesn't necessarily matter, right?
The original panda. And the fact that its monochrome mugshot shows up first when you type panda.
What a cutie! What a cutie!
But the newspaper-flavored cloud-guzzling frauds took up just enough space to convince the world otherwise. So obviously,
It looks like a little dog, the way that it
the
pants.
best trait is being a luck merchant. There is no other animal that gets carried harder by pretty privilege than the endgame of a sloth bear raccoon orgy. And they're the only creature on Earth with black and white privilege. Because the reason mascot of the World Wildlife Fund is literally because having a mascot with the same color patterns as 1940s TV saves you a lot of money on.
Yeah, I guess so.
Joke, but I'm not even kidding. If pandas were black and yellow or black and brown, they might not have gotten the job. But that aside,
Wow.
the consensus is that pandas are so bad at pandaing that we should just let the flecks of China fade into oblivion the way nature intended. But is that really true, or have we just been doing giant pandas incredibly dirty this entire time? First thing to mention is that they're a specialist species, with that specialty being in binging bamboo. Being a specialist rather than a generalist means you can typically tap into a niche nobody else can. But that means they can adapt to changes in their environment, and that also means that there are only a couple things going wrong away from getting evicted from reality. Having a very particular set of skills might be great if you're Liam Neeson, but it can severely handicap you as a species. And the funny thing is, for all the crap pandas get, the biggest and arguably most intimidating land predator on the planet is a specialist. Polar bears depend almost entirely on sea ice to hunt, and if that goes away, then it's bye-bye ice bear. But for some reason, we don't on the polar bear nearly as much for being dependent on ice as we lampoon pandas for their life choices. Especially since it's habitat destruction and fragmentation that really had giant pandas down bad. You see, it's believed the panda bear once had more variety in his diet and was more omnivorous. But likely because there was just so much bamboo everywhere and virtually zero competition for it, eventually they shifted into primarily eating.
They're like, yeah, fuck it. We'll just go with this.
They eat is high in protein, but low in carbs. So despite seeming like that one person that would bring a veggie burger to a cookout, weirdly enough, panda's protein intake is actually close to that of wolves. They're also particular about the part of bamboo they like to eat and when. According to studies on radio-collared pandas, in the summer and spring they prefer to eat the protein-packed shoots found at higher altitudes. But during autumn and winter they migrate down into the valley and shift more towards eating bamboo leaves, which are high in vitamin C along with roots. And they just move from high to low to high again year in and year out. Something that's clearly worked for them since they've been just fine like this for thousands of years. So much so that the umami taste receptor, i.e. the one that lets you experience the savory taste of meat, yeah, theirs got turned off. And they even evolved a
Wow.
for no other reason than to
Wow.
bamboo. So clearly pandas had a process that worked. The problem is when you fragment the habitat they spent thousands of years in and separate them from the food, the result is less pandas. We love to say pandas are bad at life, but by receding their habitat like a middle-aged hairline, we haven't made living any easier. Also, the whole point I made about pandas being bad at making whoopee, turns out that might just be propaganda, because in a twist, the giant panda's reproductive rate really isn't that much worse than that of American black bears. And black bears, they're doing just fine. In fact, everything I said about pandas having negative riz really only applies to those in captivity. In the wild, female pandas do have a small window for baby making, but that's often after a selection process that involves at least 2 males running fades for her honor. In a process that can last up to and over a week. And we now believe that this process might just be what stimulates ovulation. You can't really replicate that in a zoo, and between that and a constant flow of people,
Right.
that's probably the biggest reason why pandas in captivity become celibate. Like, be real, if you were forced into an arranged marriage and had to have an audience watch you consummate it, you'd be a little awkward too. There is no bigger indictment than the fact that
I mean, some people are exhibitionists, right? There'd be a certain contingent of the population that would do better being watched having sex, probably. I think I would do okay.
a zoo in Hong Kong had been trying to hook up 2 pandas for the better part of 10 years. And it wasn't until a certain beer virus of 2020 shut down the zoo to the public that the 2 bears finally got it on.
Yeah.
Roommates for 10 years, and all it took was a couple months of privacy for them to fornicate. But even with all the slander, pandas are actually in pretty good shape. And that is a problem. With about 2,000 pandas alive today, pandas were recently demoted off the endangered species list. Yet giant pandas still finesse a bulk of conservation efforts simply because they're cute. Think about it for a second. Pandas
I mean, they are cute. I mean, look at this. Look at this guy. This guy's cute as shit.
have big eyes, big foreheads, and chonk physique. If they didn't remind us of babies, we wouldn't be this invested.
It's true.
You probably didn't know that because, real talk, nobody's buying their child a plushie that looks like a deflated sunfish fetus. Animals that could legitimately destroy entire ecosystems if they go ghost, like bees or certain types of plants, they become an afterthought because, yeah, pretty gets priority. It's like that one gym teacher that ignores actually struggling students to help the attractive girls in class that don't need or ask for it. That's right. Pandas are hot girls. Side note, why does it always seem like the gym teacher's on felonious timing? Pandas aren't perfect, they're miles away from it, but at the end of the day, we've done far more to them than for them. But that's gonna do it for this video. Be sure to check out my book for 100 animals that can absolutely fold you like a lawn chair, link in description. Drink water, you need that stuff. Hug your mother, tell Pops you appreciate him. Matter of fact, might have to make a Father's Day video in the name of equality. But until then, I'ma see y'all in the next one. Now for y'all that watch till the end, here's some panda ASMR.
I mean, he is pretty cute, right? Look at him just chomping away. What a cutie. What a cutie. I mean, I'm not above saying that, like, pandas are super cute, and that's, you know, why I would want to save them. But yeah, it doesn't seem like they need saving. From the sounds of it, especially now that they're off the endangered species list, and the facts that dude listed at the end there in regards to pandas in captivity versus pandas out in the wild. Pandas out in the wild seem and sound like they do okay. I mean they've made it this far. I guess that's a good thing. So I guess I'd just say leave the pandas alone. The other thing that I would want to know, because and I hate to sound like a total capitalist, blah, 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 but I mean, it is the fishbowl we live in, right? We live in a capitalistic society. So it is something to consider. How much do pandas bring to a zoo when they're there, right? Because he was talking about China lending the pandas, but I would like to know, like, and you know, how bringing a new panda into a zoo costs a certain amount of money, but how much money do they bring in? Is the cost-benefit analysis worth it to have the panda in the zoo? I mean, we're going to have pandas in the zoo no matter what, right? Because zoos have all kinds of animals that have an easy time making it in the wild and animals that don't. But if there's not a cost-benefit analysis, if the cost-benefit analysis of it is not, the return on investment, let's say, is not worth it, then is it really worth it for us to be like actively putting in all the effort to breed them the way that we do? But then how else would we get pandas? Because we don't want to wrangle them out of the wild, do we? Anyway, I don't know enough about this, even after watching that video, to make a sound call on this, other than I do think on some level, our efforts inside of saving the pandas, to the point that he made at the end of the video where pandas are the hot girls, right, is unnecessary. And so we should probably stop sinking any sort of money or what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God. I'm just gonna blame it on pregnancy brain. Resources into them. So that's my take. I'm sure y'all could have guessed what my take was gonna be, because usually my take is leave them alone or let's eat them, because that sounds tasty. All right, well, that's it. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Give me your commentary. If there's any other information you think that I should have in regards to the panda, let me know. And a special thank you to our patrons, because without you, we would not be keeping these lights on, I swear to you. So thank you, thank you. We even have a list of your names, and here they are. Peace out, everybody.